What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It is Friday night. We're in the house, and there is no greater news than hearing that the 1-1 overall CMC is back in action for Week 10, and I am pumped about it. Man, what a crew I got in the house tonight. FSAN crew here. Got Mike, Dan, Brian. It's going to be loaded up. I'm pumped for it. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good, boss. It's finally here, the day that we, four of us actually get to do a show together. It's a long time in the making. The flagship shows of the network, battling heads here. Let's go, boys. I'm ready for tonight.
Oh, yeah, man. Dan Matter checking in from Operation Domination. Excited to be here with my brethren. Let's talk a little fantasy football, get those questions going tonight, man.
100%, fellas. I've been looking forward to this all week, man. It's week 10. We've got some start sits to talk about. Let's break into it.
Yes, sir. All right, so right off top, we got Zaire popping in. Welcome, man. Thanks for tuning in. Saw you on the app this week. Pumped about that. Hurts or Darnold, right off the top. We going Hurts or Darnold this week. What do you think, Dan? I know that you've been working on them rankings.
I mean, that's not even a question. Hurts is my number one quarterback right now and probably will be until further notice. He's off the injury report. If that was your concern from before when they was talking about dealing with an ankle injury, he's not even listed with a questionable anymore. And Dallas has got nothing left. Absolutely nothing left. And the great thing about Jalen Hurts is that we all talked about, with Saquon, is he still going to get the same amount of rushing touchdowns? Yeah, he's tied with Derrick Henry. Or I think Derrick Henry has one more now because of the Thursday night game. But he's got 8 rushing touchdowns on the year. Number one quarterback of the week.
I don't hate it. Everybody else in agreement?
I mean, I've got these two essentially back to back. I've got them right there, both in the top 5. My biggest concern wasn't necessarily a Hurts injury. It was the A.J. Brown and the Devonta Smith injury. Because we've seen when Hurts doesn't have his weapons, he's, closer to that middling guy. But, yeah, it looks like everybody's off the report today, so I'm all for it.
Even Dallas Goedert's back.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, I don't have him that close. I think I got Hurts 5 spots ahead of Darnold right now, so it's not a question for me there.
The Jacksonville defense, though.
Yeah. Jamar Chase had 49.9 points or 50 points, depending on what league you're in or what scoring format. What a week for him. Speaking of the Bengals, we saw a few last minute trades that happened on the trade deadline. And it was really like you were looking for something huge, gigantic. I don't know if we really got that. I didn't feel so. But, the 3 kind of offensive trades to note, like Herbert, to the Bengals. I was hoping to see him maybe get a carry or 2 last night. I knew it would be pretty quick, probably too quick for that to happen. Mingo to the boys. For what was it, a 4th round
freaking
pick?
4th.
How you feel about that, Brian? Did it change your fantasy football speculation for him?
I mean, I don't even think it has any, if any, fantasy relevance at all in there. It's funny to see Carolina finally win one. That poor fan base for so long is just seen nastiness these last few years ever underneath this new ownership. So it was nice to see them win one. And then they turn around and drop all that money to Chuba Hubbard. So what can you say about Carolina?
Speaking of that, who in this room is a Brooks owner? Nobody?
I got one share, I think.
Dan, how do you think the Jonathan Brooks owners felt after that?
I felt like you got to feel like crap. Look, your best case scenario is that somehow this turns into D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart moving forward. I don't think either one of them are as talented as either of those two, and it's a worse offense. You have no idea who the quarterback's going to be. Yeah, I posted about it as soon as it happened. I was like, Jonathan Brooks, sure. It's going to be a little bit rough. It's going to be a 1A, 1B situation at best now. It's a 4-year contract. It means it's really 2 in the NFL, but regardless, it means Jonathan Brooks doesn't get to take over. And this was a guy who was a 3-down back coming out of Texas. That was his skill set. This is not a split-em guy. He's better as the game goes on. So now you're going to take that away from him. I think it's going to be a little bit rough for them next year.
Yeah.
We got MA football guy in the house. Sup, guys? It's Dad Bod here. Albert, what's up, everybody?
What's up, Al?
Glad to have you guys. Drop your questions in the chat. Mike, probably if there was, out of the 3 offensive trades, if there was one that was going to have any potential, maybe, Mike Williams moved to Pittsburgh. How do you feel about that? Is he somebody worth grabbing? Could he have late season potential, or are we still out on Mike Williams, who we know falls way too hard?
I'm probably still out on Mike Williams, but if this is actually anything good it's good for Russell Wilson, I think. It opens him up downfield even more. Bombs away, exactly. There you go. It helps Russell Wilson out a ton, but I'm not sure it's going to help much out for fantasy. There's not
somebody just pushed Coyote off the cliff there. What happened?
Dan's got the sound effects rolling. He's got his beer in hand. He's got the sound effects rolling, adding a little bit there. Oh, that's funny. It was really uneventful. I think we were all hoping for a little bit more. We were hoping for maybe a big move, even if the Cowboys, go out and get a wide receiver. I definitely wasn't thinking it was going to be Mingo. You know what I mean? I don't think any of the moves really do anything for fantasy. I can tell you, Chase Brown looked really good yesterday, so I don't really think that Herbert's going to, get in there too much unless he just can't get healthy. But it was an uneventful trade deadline. Most of us have our trade deadlines in our fantasy leagues this week or next, which for me has also been uneventful. Let's see. Zaire saying Mason Rudolph benched this week.
Yeah, Will Levis is back, baby.
Are you excited about that?
No. That means you're only starting Pollard.
Will Levis is back, and I'm like, and
even Pollard's got some issues because he's got the foot thing he's dealing with, but Tajay Spears is back, so he's not going to have the same kind of workload that he's seen the past couple of weeks either. So, you're still starting Pollard. He's still in my top 20 for running backs because he's been great, but it's a rough scenario. Maybe Calvin Ridley catches a bomb. That's all you're praying for.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. I own one Titan, but he's on IR. Any other Titans? In a deep grab league with Levis, I have gotten Chig in a couple places because Levis tends to look for Chig in the underneath routes. So with that not having a real deep threat, that he can get the ball to, I think that Chig could get some more targets, but that's in a deep, you just got to find somebody, and the waivers are absolutely barren, type move. There's 15 other tight ends probably that I would start over him. And I said, would I be nuts to drop Schultz for Hunter Henry given the Dak situation?
Do it.
Well, I don't know what Dak has to do with
it.
Schultz.
Me neither. Yeah, I have no idea either. I did. This really confused me there. I was like, huh.
We know what he meant. Schultz used to play for the boys. Schultz is with the Texans.
They're buddies. And they probably share notes or something.
Yeah. But he has been on the struggle bus this week or this year. We haven't seen a whole bunch of Dalton Schultz. Do you get any of you disagree? I'm for it. I'm also a Razorback fan, right? So Hunter Henry is, the truth where I come from. I still remember the Ole Miss throwback, but obviously Drake May has kind of latched onto him as a go-to target. I'm seeing him throwing to Henry in coverage and letting Henry make plays, which he has been doing. I always thought he was a good tight end. It looks like somebody's actually highlighting him. It's not crazy to me.
Yeah, the last 3 weeks he's had 9, 6, and 8 targets. He has been rolling up there. Him and Demario Douglas has been Drake May's favorite targets to go to over the middle of the field. This is a game that should be open to go over the middle of the field too. So, I'm all about dropping Schultz for Hunter Henry if those are your options.
Mm-hmm.
I would add this real quick though. If you can get Taysom Hill, do it.
Now, do you think he meant Ferguson there with the Dak add-in? And if he meant Ferguson, would you drop Ferguson this week for for Hunter Henry? Because I don't think I would. I think Ferguson now falls into that bucket of almost Evan Ingram and, oh my God, who are the other guys? Njoku, just guys that are essentially the number one on the offense that are just going to get fed. I guess it's with CD being out.
Hunter Henry is really what feels like wide receiver one for that New England. I know he's a tight end, but he feels like first target look for that offense in New England. And Ferguson's gonna not have Dak. Like that offense was struggling with Dak. Then you go to the backup here and Cooper Rush. And I mean, are we really going to? Is it going to pick up that much for him? I mean, maybe because maybe he doesn't throw downfield as much, but I'm still not super psyched about it if it is Ferguson.
Could we see Trey Lance even? Like, we don't even know. Dan even said earlier in the broadcast that it was the Cowboys are spent. And we have no idea where they're going to be. Are they going to be in a whole lot of scoring situations either? And where is Ferguson got a lot of his upside in the red zone? I'm not sold on that. I'd much rather have the more proven target in an ascending quarterback with Drake May looking pretty good right now, and he's relying on Hunter Henry. So, I mean, I agree with Dan on that.
Our pets' heads are falling off!
All right, so we got the Frogs coming in. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. Yo, I need one wide receiver and one flex. I got MHJ, Ladd, D-Hop, Eckler, and Bucky Irving. Oh. Who's your wide receiver take out of that? And then who you playing in flex?
Who are you asking?
Hit it, Dan. What do you think? You look like you're ready.
Yeah. So I know this is rough. Look, I know it's rough. I know it is. The matchup for D-Hop. You kind of have to do it right now. Okay. So the one thing I liked about what happened last week was that they didn't just have him line up on the perimeter, which is something that we're worried about that they were going to do to DeAndre Hopkins. He actually lined up inside, outside a pretty even amount. So he's going to have his fair chances to get away from Patrick Surtain. We saw with the Ravens what you can do if you actually just consistently attack the middle of that Ravens defense. So I'm starting D-Hop for one, and then I'm starting Ladd McConkey because he has established himself now as that number one consistent target for the Chargers. They're starting to throw the ball down the field more consistently as they trust Justin Herbert and they trust the receivers to get open a little bit more with him and Quentin Johnston. The way they're using Marvin Harrison in Arizona, man, it's a catastrophe. It really is. And if you have those other two options, that's the way I'm going. Austin Eckler, we saw even without B-Rob, that Chris Rodriguez now got involved. Jerry McNichols was involved. It was almost a 33% share across the board, slightly favoring Eckler. And Bucky's been dealing with the toe issue, and as a result to that, he's been having his workload cut back into by Rachaad White. Sean Tucker gets a few carries. It's not a great match against San Francisco. So I'm definitely going Ladd and D-Hop there.
Yeah, and to add to that, like it would be splitty. Like if there was any guy that I maybe consider would be Marvin, but against the Jets as well, that matchup is tough. So yeah, I'm in on that as well. D-Hop and Ladd would be in that order for me as well.
It's a rough thing. They all three have rough defensive matchups. Between Tennessee, Denver, yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's gnarly the matchups you're getting there. The potential cornerback matchups but yeah, I'm right there with you. Give me D-Hop, give me Ladd for decent floor with the ceiling added on there to it.
Yeah, I was really impressed with how they use D-Hop. We got to see him do D-Hop things and catch some balls in coverage. And, you saw, I know, Mike, I know you're a Chiefs fan, and I know there was some of those plays and D-Hop made that play. And it felt like you just saw Mahomes go, like oh God, like I could breathe.
It was on both sides. Like D-Hop was doing the same thing. He's like, wow, I got somebody that could throw me the ball. And just that one play where Mahomes was scrambling and threw it into triple coverage right in the breadbasket, and D-Hop comes up with the ball. That neither of those guys have had that. So it's a sight for sore eyes, and they're just getting started. Like they haven't even played their best football yet. They haven't even played a great game, really. Tampa is the only real team that has really pushed them hard, and they're going to have a big challenge against the Bills in 2 weeks, I think, and we'll see what happens there. That's going to be a true test.
All right, Chiefs fan, calm down. Why don't you go take a cold shower there, buddy? Getting a little excited.
8-0 back to back. What do you like? I can be at the top of the hill if I want right now. Look,
Brian's just sad over there because the quarterback of the generational quarterback that they took to lead the Indianapolis Colts to multiple Super Bowls is just letting them down.
Hey, I guess I'm still technically repping. I got Patty. I'm still repping Patty.
There you go.
I need somebody. I need a sub. I need a sub in the show, please. All right, so we'll keep moving. Do you want me to drop Juwan Jennings or Demarcus Robinson for Xavier Legette, Adam Thielen, or Jalen Coker?
I'm not dropping Juwan Jennings. Not at all. Like, wow. Any of that. Not, yeah, definitely not.
Not dropping Demarcus Robinson either. The guy's been catching touchdowns on the backside. Like, no way.
No, not for a Carolina wide receiver in this state.
Yeah, and Thielen's out this week too.
Yeah, he is.
You said who's out this week?
Thielen.
You know, the only one I would lean towards if I was going to make a move would be Legette, and that's because he has 4 touchdowns in the last 6 games. Like, he's being targeted in the red zone, and both games that Bryce Young has started against tough defenses, Denver, New Orleans, but they still had Lattimore. You got 2 touchdowns there, or a touchdown in both those games. That's like the fringe for me. I agree, Juwan Jennings. It's maybe Demarcus Robinson with all the receivers in that lane. Like Puka getting thrown out, I think helped that narrative a little bit for him. But, like those 2 to me are really close. Everybody else is like long shots. Like Thielen's going to be a long shot. Coker's been doing okay, but he's not getting those red zone targets, No,
the upside there with both those Robinson and, Cooper Kupp and Puka are banged up a little bit here in and out of the lineup, and one of those guys is out. Robinson is going to emerge again. Like
Robinson seems to do better when he's the third anyway, when he's not relied on to be the star of the show. So I think he
random
better.
Well, I thought he was a great DFS play. Like, I won't that, but the other guys are just as random as he is, as a starter, as the main guys in Carolina.
Yeah, absolutely.
Demarcus Robinson has been on fire the last 2 games, and
it's
he's got
Nick Westbrook-Akine, 4 straight weeks with touchdowns. I'm not touching that.
Right.
Despite him screwing us.
Zaire Thorley, K-Dot, and you found your league winner, your savior, at least till Mike Evans comes back. You have the target of the century right there. Congratulations. You're probably looking at 20-plus points a game.
Yeah, even when Mike Evans does come back, I don't think this changes too much. Like, he's going to act as the slot receiver. He's going to act as the Chris Godwin role. It ain't Sterling Shepard. It ain't Jalen McMillan. So to me, when Mike Evans does come back, it might open things up even more so for K-Dot. Maybe not in the way of volume, but even more efficiency. It's not going to go away. That's kind of more point.
Yeah. He's emerged like the genie's out of the bucket here, and I think we're ready to rock with K-Dot.
You're the saying?
Yeah, exactly. It's a Canadian thing. That's what we say up here.
There's no genie in the bottle. It's out of the bucket.
It's a bucket up here. Yeah.
Can it be in the can?
It could be anywhere.
No, I love K-Dot and rest of the season. Legette or pick up Noah Brown. I'm keeping the Legette personally. Anybody else?
It's very close for me, to be honest. I have, like, this week alone, I have Legette ranked 2 spots ahead of Noah Brown. Noah Brown, of all the Washington receivers, is starting to establish himself. Was weeks ago before he got injured, but he's starting to establish himself as that second receiver to Terry McLaurin. And we've seen what he can do when he has good quarterbacks and he has significant amount of playing time. He can be a wide receiver 3. So that's actually very, very close for me. Moving on for the rest of the season. Now, here's what I will say. I don't love their matchup this week, obviously, against Pittsburgh. And Philly, ever since they benched Avonte Maddox and put in Cooper DeJean, their secondary has been much better. But after that, the Commanders' second matchups get really good rest of the season, despite their Week 14 bye. So that was a little bit close for me.
For me here, I think it really depends on your roster and what do you need for upside. If you need a big boom kind of guy where you could fit into a flex as like a Leggett kind of guy who's going to maybe have that touchdown upside, or if you need a floor play like Noah Brown who's going to get those targets now, and like Dan said, he's emerging. I like his snap share there. So both those guys are all right. It just really depends on what you need and where your upside is there. If you need a guy that can boom and win you a week, it might be Leggett, and then Noah Brown would be more of a floor for me.
Well, I'm going to push this next one to you, Brian. Drake May or Bo Nix rest of season, the Frogs ask.
Oh, I'm probably going to lean Bo Nix, but Drake May, I don't want to take anything away from him. He's been impressive. He's been fun. They both are giving you that floor that you want to get from a quarterback just in that rushing. So I like both of them just with that intangible, but I'm trying to pull up their schedule here, just rest of season. I believe I like Bo Nix better. Drake May in the championship, he's got his bye in for week 14, and then Arizona, Buffalo, and then the Chargers in the championship game. So like he's not scoring over 20 points in that game, I don't think.
Yeah.
Brian, just to back your point real quick, Denver has the 5th best schedule for a quarterback the rest of the way, just to kind of back your point there.
And
funny enough, they both have a bye.
Sorry, and
they also funny enough, they both go for it.
No, you go. Yeah, go ahead, Brian. You finish.
I was just gonna say they both have their bye in week 14. Funny enough,
but like Bo Nix has got better receivers around him. They're a more competitive team, and they both have that rushing upside. But I just think that they might be in more competitive games, and they're gonna need his legs a bit more. So I'm gonna lean Nix there too, as limited as it is.
Yeah, Nix is sitting at quarterback 8 on the season right now in fantasy, and a lot of people weren't high on him coming in. I wasn't super high on him coming in, but he's a gamer. Like he's like, give me the ball, let me run, let me do my thing, let me try to make it happen.
Yeah, he's having a Daniel Jones year, and to that point, you should sell Bo Nix immediately, because I'm not buying the whole like Bo Nix is going to be some fantasy stud moving forward. So, and I'm talking dynasty here, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I'm not talking redraft. I'm talking dynasty here. I don't think his value is ever going to be higher. Look, Sean Payton, I don't know what happened to his cojones. They went out the window a very long time ago. There's no aggressiveness in this offense whatsoever. That is not going to hold over time when teams start to squeeze Bo Nix, just like they squeeze Daniel Jones over time. And I'm worried the same thing happens. If you're in dynasty right now, I'm selling Bo Nix high while I still can.
Fair point. So as you guys know, this show is sponsored by FantasySportsAdvice.com, Fantasy Sports Advice Network, the social media platform for fantasy sports. And so during the show, often we'll pop over to the network and we'll check out a couple questions that have been asked throughout the week. So we're going to do that now.
I just wanted to point out too, since Drake May has become the starter, he's QB7. Bo Nix is QB6. So yeah, interesting just on both counts.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com today.
Man, that voice sounds familiar.
Mike, look at you, man.
I finally made it in the big time here.
Yeah. So Fantasy Sports Advice. Now we got JZA Mudio 24 dropping a question. If Hurts is out, and so I don't think he's going to be out, but let's say really the question is, do I pick up Rodgers or Stafford? Are you rolling with Aaron Rodgers? Are you rolling with Stafford for a 1 week pickup?
Stafford, they're playing Miami. That game is could be as big of a shootout as the Thursday nighter was. It could be whoever has the last possession. I could see Stafford throwing 4 or 5 touchdowns in that game.
I echo that, Mike. 100%, man. Look, last week he finished QB 13, the week before QB 5, but he almost had 300 yards last week too. The point is that with Puka and Cooper back, it's been fantastic for Stafford looking back to normal. And let's add this. I know Miami on paper looks like they've been daunting against passing attacks. It's only because they have been so bad against the run and so bad at scoring points before Tua Tagovailoa took over. The teams are just putting the nail in the coffin on my run the football the entire time. So the statistics there are not really reflective of the reality of the situation. So yeah, I'm with you 100% Stafford.
Yeah, following that up as well. Since Tua has been back, I think they're 16th against wide receiver, the Dolphins are. So yeah, definitely a fallacy that you can't throw on this team. I do have Rodgers as a fringe QB1 in this week, right around 13 for me, but I like Stafford, middling to high QB1 this week.
Yeah, I'm with it. I am with it. All right, so we got another question in the chat. Brent Bradford saying, you starting CMC his first week back, or is it too risky? Am I thinking too much?
You're thinking too much, man. Get him in.
Go outside, get out of your lineup.
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna hold him off one more week.
Yeah, trade him to me.
Top 10. Let it fly.
Yeah, let's go.
So let's talk about that a little bit. And as like I own CMC in a ton of leagues. He's been a player that I typically try to grab in Dynasty. Okay, in Dynasty, are we approaching the point of selling CMC, or are we like he's coming back? Obviously, like maybe he has two. Let's say he has two big games, right? Like he comes in, has two, maybe a 2-touchdown game, maybe another touchdown game, 80, 100 all-purpose yards. And the San Francisco offense is absolute, but he has two big games back to back. At that point, would you sell him in Dynasty, or is he somebody that you're just going to let hang on your roster until he dies?
I mean, I imagine if you have him at this point, you imagine you're contending. Anybody who's like rebuilding at this point, you shouldn't still have him on your roster, unless you just couldn't move him for whatever reason for the injury. So if you still have him on your roster and you're not contending, yeah, get him out of there as best you can. But I imagine go win the chip with CMC if you have him.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, pop back over here to the Advice Network. My guy Geezer. Coming in, always there, always writing gigantic paragraphs. With Metcalf on IR and Tillman on bye, I have to start Cooper or Coleman this week. Which would you start? Or would you sit Ridley versus a very tough Chargers D and start both Cooper and Coleman?
Well, first of all, Coleman's out. It's probably going to be out next week too, by the way. So this is only going to be about Cooper. And yes, I would start Cooper this week. So he is expected to be back. That's the good news there. He's now been in the offense for about 3 weeks or so, and Coleman's going to be out. So he's going to have a bigger role than what we have seen last time, at least he was out there on the field. And this is a decent matchup for perimeter wide receivers coming up this week. So I'm rolling Cooper with some confidence here against the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else that you could pick from there. But yeah, I agree with you, Dan, on the Cooper matchup, and he's going to have that opportunity now with Coleman not playing 2 games, and hopefully by the time Coleman's back, Cooper's solidified himself as that number 1, and the Bills are rolling and can put up a fight here against the Chiefs and the Ravens, who look ridiculous as well.
So
I agree 100%, but I will point out, as of just a few hours ago, he's still listed as questionable. Amari Cooper is, so you might get stuck playing Ridley anyway.
Yeah.
So, if he does play, I'll play
Well,
Cooper.
he has to play 2 in that. He's got to
okay.
Ridley and Cooper in that scenario. But just to shed some light with what Brian was saying, that yes, he's listed as questionable. They already came out and said the expectation is he's back this week.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So, obviously we have trades, we have injuries. Injuries have just plagued this season, right? Like we consistently have seen player after player go down. And last week, we've already talked about it in the show a little bit. Dak went down, hamstring injury. They are, moving him to IR. CeeDee Lamb banged up, AC joint injury, shoulder. Are you worried about Lamb rest of season?
Yeah.
So I got Brian and I got Mike saying yes, and I got Dan going, no. Let's talk about that a little bit. Dan, why are you not worried?
We've already seen Cooper Rush with CeeDee Lamb. We've already seen CeeDee Lamb have a 30% target share with Cooper Rush as a starting quarterback. We've already seen him produce as a top 12 wide receiver with Cooper Rush as the quarterback. Here's what's going to happen, okay? Mike McCarthy is going to simplify the offense. This is what he did last time. He's going to simplify the offense to the point where, look, CeeDee Lamb's your first read, and if it's not there, you're checking the ball down the Rico Dottle, and we're going to implement the running game a little bit more as well. I already know what's going to happen. Jake Ferguson gets left out. Jalen Tolbert, the new acquisition of Jonathan Mingo, it's all irrelevant. But CeeDee Lamb himself is going to get 10 to 11 targets. Now, is he going to be probably reduced to, 8 yards of air yards per target? Probably, but you're going to get the volume, and if any touchdowns come, it's going to come from CeeDee Lamb. We've already seen him produce as a wide receiver one with Cooper Rush.
When they had a running game back in the day, they had a better O-line, they had a better defense that kept them into better games. They're going to be out of games so far that, other teams are going to be running the ball just like they did against Miami against them, and they're going to be controlling the clock. You're going to see Dallas's pass defense emerge because they're not going to be throwing against them. So it's going to be tough. CeeDee Lamb was drafted as the number 1 or number 2 pick. So if you're not worried about CeeDee Lamb at this stage without Dak Prescott, he's not a wide receiver 1 like elite now. He's probably at the end of that tier. So I'm worried about him big time.
So funny enough, mine's actually completely different than both of theirs. I still think he's going to get the production. He's going to move the ball. He's going to get some work. Mine's the injury. I know he's off the injury report for this week, but I also think he's the kind of guy that he's toughing it out. He's going to go out there. He's going to be out there until he's dragged off. So if he's seeing that absolute volume, if he's put in those positions, those shoulder injuries, it may come back. We've seen Tyreek Hill with a similar injury, and it's also a losing team. So if this happens in a few weeks, he could get shut down. So I guess mine's not a little bit more dramatic in the sense of like, where am I going to be seeing him at the end of the season at the point where, what are the Cowboys really playing for? But as far as production, I still think he's going to be giving you, maybe not these elite 40-point games, but he's still going to carry your team as far as a top-end wide receiver.
Mike,
to add to that, sorry, to add to
just go what you were saying real fast. 100% agree in a sense of they had a better running game. I don't agree they had a better offensive line. This offensive line is actually playing pretty well. So that's the part I don't agree. But he was wide receiver 9 from weeks 2 through 6 when Cooper Rush was a starter in 2022. It's just volume. It's just volume at the end of the day. If they are getting well behind, they're just going to have to throw more. And it's only going to go to CeeDee Lamb because Cooper Rush can't come off his first read. So that's kind of what I'm looking at.
Yeah. But the injury thing also plagues into that because he's already dealing with it. They're already double, triple teaming him. He's getting beat hard, and where he makes his bread and butter is in the middle of the field too. He's going to be taking more of those types of sustained hits. I don't know. What do they have outside of CeeDee Lamb now? Rico Dowdle,
Mingo. Come on, they just traded a fourth for that guy.
Like it's a different situation than when they were a more competitive team in a race at that stage too. When Dak went down, they're not there at this stage. There's too many other variables, in my opinion, now that are going to hinder CeeDee Lamb's upside. So if I could trade him for a guy that is going to have more, playing time as far as upside as touchdowns go, I'd be looking to trade him for an even keel situation.
Yeah, Matthias is saying Lamb sucks. Obviously, we're not listening to that. Lamb does not suck.
No, absolutely not. And I'm just worried about a lot of variables around his situation now. So I'm worried.
Well, look, I'm gonna be partial here. I'm gonna tune both you and Brian out because I have a lot of CeeDee Lamb shares and I need him to be effective because I am running for several championships this year. And so, I need to be selfish right now. I need to, be about me. And I did appreciate last week. You saw CeeDee Lamb go out there in that game. You could tell he was hurting, and he didn't go off the field. He kept getting in line. He kept going, and you could tell he was hanging his arm, his shoulder. It reminded me of like that Stafford throw. He comes in, his shoulders out of socket, and you got a little bit. For those who thought like CD was like, not tough, right? Because that was one of the things that people says, like, oh, he's about himself. He's not tough. He won't play when the going gets tough. This week you got a different look at that, and I mean he kept grinding, and I imagine it was probably the coaches keeping him out and not allowing it, why he didn't even go back in, So that's good. We want to see that from our players. I was excited to see that from CeeDee Lamb. In Dynasty, that it cemented him as a hold for me even more so. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes rest of season. Hopefully it's good. Keep moving down. We got Hunter 18. I traded Swift and Wan'Dale for Jacobs and Shakir. I can tell you in this week at least you smashed with the Shakir grab, even though Wan'Dale's been good. But how you feeling about this trade? What do you think, Brian? You're stewing.
I mean, I like Shakir rest of season more than Wan'Dale. I haven't been able to get on the Wan'Dale train all season. Like it's the number 2 target for Daniel Jones. It's barely do we like the first target. It's only because he's an elite talent that we got coming into the NFL. So like just straight off the bat, especially in PPR, Shakir is absolutely eating. And then when it comes to Swift and Jacobs, I don't know. I don't understand what's happening in Chicago with Swift. His numbers from week 1 to 3 from now till, when he started blowing up, nothing changed. He just did all of a sudden. So it's bonkers. I don't believe it. And Jacobs been decent this season, but the touchdowns just haven't been there. So I do believe he's going to regress positively. Just 2 more touchdowns than he's seen in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, the Swift conundrum was pretty crazy. I think maybe whenever he found out that he was going to get benched and Roshan was going to get the job, that's, I feel like, when he turned it on.
His utilization went up. Like Shane Waldron's like, you know what? Caleb's still a rookie. I'm putting too much on him. Let's actually utilize DeAndre Swift. But DeAndre Swift's one of my biggest sell highs while you still can. Now he's got a great week coming up. And I have him in almost every DFS lineup that you could possibly imagine going into this week. But after this week, the Bears have the 22nd ranked strength of schedule for the running backs moving forward. Green Bay has the 10th. So you want Josh Jacobs moving forward. It's a great deal across the board. You had a steal in both positions. A great job there.
Yeah, still playing Minnesota twice and Detroit twice. The Bears do.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Matheson is our Debbie Downer of the week here.
Everybody sucks. You know what that says? When somebody's coming on, they say everybody sucks. Like Lamb sucks, Jacob sucks, Swift sucks. They're hurt. Okay, they're hurting. Like they've been hit by injury. Somebody they drafted high is like sucking for them, or they're like 0-6 and they're like, you screw this season. I hate everybody.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure he's got a pretty good team. He comes and hangs out with me on Tuesday. During the live stream there, and I was gonna say we've done a little bit of work on that roster.
That's why he has a good team because he hangs with you.
Yeah, exactly. Come on. That's why I'm doing so. That's why I'm doing so well.
The next comment's gonna be like, Brian sucks.
Oh, I'm sure. Move on, gentlemen.
Look, I will say somebody came into the chat before we even went live and was like, Brian is a good dude or something like that. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah,
that was my other account.
Yeah.
That was his mom.
What are you talking about? She went to bed hours
I think it was
ago.
the guy earlier that came in and said the dad bot has arrived. All right, so we got Britt Bradford coming in. Pollard, Connor, Monty, CMC, Dobbins, B-Rob, Hubbard. Pick 4. It sounds like
7.
maybe 2 running backs and 2 flex, and they're a running back heavy team.
Yeah.
Hold on. Flag on the field. This is the Dynasty League with 6 flex positions. Pick 4.
This is the whole lineup.
I think it's probably 2 running back, 2 flex.
It's running back only league.
Yeah.
No, obviously not, because it was running back only. There's no way he ends up with all these on one roster.
Oh, man.
But yeah, B-Rob's out, so that takes us down to just 6 to choose from here.
Just 6.
So we're sitting 2. Essentially pick 2 to sit.
No, it's CMC, it's Monty, it's Connor, and it's Dobbins this week, guys. All the way. Dobbins' work share has been too good to pass up. I already listed how Tajay Spears is going to be back this week, so I think Pollard's share is going to kind of suffer a little bit, and I don't like the matchup with him against the Chargers. Remember, against the Chargers, you can run if you run to the outside. It's not what Tennessee's been doing. They've been running up the middle, so that kind of plays right into their hands a little bit there. So that's the 4 I'm going with.
Because they need.
So you don't like Hubbard against New York?
Hubbard, Giants have been sneaky good against running backs last couple of weeks, especially. So I don't love it as much. And
and Brooks might get some action there. I'm not sure how much. He might be playing with some incentive after that contract, but I do agree with you guys there with the 4.
I'm sitting CMC.
CMC. Yeah, here we go.
Roll them dice, man. Come on.
You know what? CMC sucks.
Right, there you go. CMC
all right,
sucks.
I got Downs and Taylor, so I'm probably a bigger Colts fan this year than him. There you go, Brian.
Love Downs this week, by the way. Love Downs this week. If I'm a Jonathan Taylor owner, though, I'm trying to call up Shane Steichen on the phone and be like, hey, bud, remember the run game? Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, Josh Downs. I'm all over him rest of the season with Flacco. He's top 5 wide receiver when Flacco plays. Even in a tougher matchup, I still think he's all over him.
So, being as we got a Colts fan in here, and apparently we have a bigger Colts fan in the chat, I'm curious, and I'm not trying to pick. I know we have differing views on this player. I'm not trying to pick Brian. I'm sincerely asking for dynasty purposes. As like a Colts fan, if you're looking at Anthony Richardson, are you in? Like, I mean, how are you feeling right now? You think? I mean, are we going to turn it around? Are we sticking with them? I mean, the last news line I saw was that teams were calling to inquire on a trade for Anthony Richardson, as if the Colts may be done. So, I mean, what are your thoughts there?
I'm still good with it. Like, the dude's still young. Like, I'm still down to roll with him at least through next year. At this point, we've already gone through the carousel of the old guys trying to get the fill in. Like, let's give him a shot. He really hasn't had a whole lot of playing time. There's so many different things you can look at. Like, yeah, his receivers haven't been doing a great job at catching the ball. Michael Pittman's being paid as a number 1. He's not a true number 1. Josh Downs is our most talented wide receiver, like flat out. A.D. Mitchell, I can't wait till we get him in a full set of snaps, because I really think the talent's there. But, like, I'm not out on him. Like, I'm what are we going to go draft a guy? We're in the mid-first round right now? No, screw that. We've tried that. It doesn't work. So, like, let's give it one more year. He's still young. And in Dynasty, I'm buying him. At the right price. Of course, I'm not going crazy. If I can get him for 2 seconds, a second in a play or something like that, yeah, I'm going to buy him. Or, at least in Superflex, just because even if he doesn't turn into some elite guy that we were hyping him up to be this offseason, there's always value in quarterbacks. You were buying Baker so cheap 2 years ago in Dynasty. Absolutely cheap. And look where he's at now. Zach, what's his name? From Zach Wilson from New York. You know what? He's had his value go up before. Maybe not a whole lot, but like you see quarterback value constantly. So yeah, I'm buying at the floor wherever I can.
That's our hope. We're hoping he turns into Zach Wilson.
Fingers crossed, man.
Maybe more
Fingers
of like
crossed.
a Terrell Pryor possibility here.
Brian, as a fellow 49ers fan, have you ever heard the name Trey Lance? Sorry, but that's what you got in your hands right now.
Hey, but at least we didn't trade up. And that's the nice thing is like we didn't lose any draft capital, so I'm okay with it. Like we took them straight up right there at 4.
little fire there. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, no, like it's a tough one to swallow there for those Colts fans. They put all their eggs in that basket, and it's a tough one to really wrap your head around, especially in Dynasty. People are floundering. I was in a startup, and he went at 105 this summer. So, like, people had a lot of invested in Anthony Richardson to be this guy. It's tough. Guy only played 12 games in college, so like not a whole lot of exposure there. You're gonna have to let him sit in a system, and they rushed him into the game. They could have had him in the system a couple of years. It's not in the cards now because at this stage they've already said they don't believe in him, in my opinion. So where does he go? Like how do you go back from that?
I think that's the nice thing about him tapping out is because they can call they're sitting him out because of that. Not necessarily, hey, we're sitting you because of the shitty performance. Hey, we can pull it off as, hey, we're gonna get you for kind of wussing out there, and we'll get you back in later.
Well, here's what I will say, just to kind of defend Bryant a little bit. We saw the Panthers go back to Bryce Young, and he actually won a game. So, it's not impossible for Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, no, they're going to have to. You see what they have in him. It just seems like a weird situation when, there's all these powerhouse teams in the AFC, and they're not.
No rush.
Like, but why not just let him try it out and play the rest of the season out instead of give Joe Flacco, where there's no opportunity for them to have a future with Flacco, right? So what is the point? What's the point of them doing that? They're obviously trying to make a run at a playoff. You know what I mean? So it's
locker room.
Yeah,
locker room. They were going to lose the locker room. You kept playing.
I mean, that's also the problem when you've got an owner that dabbles in drugs. Like, you're going to get pressure from above, and like we see that with the Panthers. Tepper can't keep his hands up. Look, you're going to get pressure from above. So I'm wavering on the head coach, and I didn't think he could do anything this season that would make me do that. And he's already kind of given me reason to. Like, I was so pumped to have him, but I'm like, those are Sirianni qualities I'm seeing coming from you right there. So,
Well, Matthieson said Shane needs to call 4 hitches all short of the first down marker and make Richardson throw short. Not every pass needs to go beyond the first down marker.
It's so much more exciting, though. Like, I get his pass ratings down. Like, it's down, but, like, he throws the ball deep. There are 10-year vets playing right now that won't throw it that far deep.
That part's not on Shane Steichen. Richardson can't throw the short ball with any kind of accuracy. The only ball he can throw with any accuracy is deep down the field. That's the problem.
It's smarter because we expect him to throw it a lower percentage if he throws it deep, If he throws it short, we're going to see, he can't do that,
Well, we'll leave him alone. I didn't mean to get on your guy. I was just curious what the Colts move was. I thought you have give us a little insight there. Hunter said start Dowdle or Shakir in flex PPR this week.
Shakir. I would go Shakir here.
Agreed.
Those hips don't lie.
Anthony, thanks for tuning in. Make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe. Appreciate everybody. Should I start Mooney, Ramondre, Tracy, or Eckler PPR? I've got my answer in the bag, but who wants to hit it first? Mike, you look like you're ready.
I really like Tyrone Tracy this week. I love his matchup. He's playing the Panthers. They've given up 7 touchdowns in 4 games, over 630 yards on the ground. I did a short this week as one of my starts of the week, so I'm all over Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah, I fully agree, Mike. Tracy is going to be an RB13 for me this week. I actually got 1 spot ahead of Jonathan Taylor, just for the Colts fan to kind of know about that one. But yeah, whenever you have a running back playing against Carolina who's actually getting the workload that Tracy is, you got to play him.
Not worried about the trip to Germany though?
No.
I was just the group now. Yeah, I'm not either. I'm all in Tracy. I like Mooney's a great play this week, but I am a little nervous that game script could just be so poor. Like the Saints can't move the ball at all, and the Falcons don't have to do anything except run it, which you easily can on the Saints.
Yeah, I'm the same. Tracy, he's proven. I mean, excellent game against a tough Pittsburgh defense 2 weeks ago. Last week, wasn't awful. He still put up, he still averaged over 4 yards a carry. Carolina, I think his points projection is like 10 more than it's been all season, this game. So I like Tracy. Plus we don't have much faith in that passing game. Boofy. What's up, Boofy? Glad you're tuning in. Appreciate that. Nick Westbrook-Ikini is going to win Comeback Player of the Year.
Don't you have to be there?
From what? The bench?
Yeah, where do you have to come back from? Don't you have to be somewhere first?
Look.
Yeah, Matthieson, why don't you weigh in on Ikine there?
I will say this. Obviously, we wondered who it would be once they traded D-Hop, who would get the uptick in targets and plays. And it's been Westbrook-Ikine. Boofy said he came back from the fantasy graveyard. He did. I am again on the page of like, give me no Titans, and I'm in Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? I'm like 2 hours south of Nashville, and I'm
With a
like,
Burks
do I
jersey
want to go
behind
to a
him.
game? Nah. Like actually, so I went to the Green Bay Titans game earlier this season.
Oh
And
God, with
so-
Malik Willis.
Yes, it was a work thing. I went there,
Wing,
and
baby, wing T, let's go.
and what was crazy was like the Green Bay fans, I felt like outnumbered the Titans fans in that stadium. Like it was crazy the difference, you know, and it just they've lost so much this season. You know, it's just like I feel like they're just there to die. Poofy said, "I'm loving this." Man, I mean, what do you even do? Like, they sent away who is probably one of their best coaches that they've had in a long time, you know, and now we're in like it's in worse condition. I mean, what's the hope for the Titans from here?
They
They
drafted.
don't have a franchise quarterback.
That's the key. They have to draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
You
And they're
have to hold
decently built.
Drew Sanders. That's plain and simple.
Yeah.
And I think they're decently built for the future too. You know, they've got some young offensive line pieces now. They've got Ridley locked up for at least one more year, maybe two. I'm not exactly sure where the guarantees sit. You know, a nice running back in Tajay Spears if that arthritis.
Imagine having
Pulls back.
AJ Brown, Derrick Henry, and DeAndre Hopkins all at the same time.
Well, they can't have AJ Brown though because you know they've got Treylon Burks.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Don't you do it. Don't you freaking do it.
So Tyler, let's talk about Treylon.
Hey, I'll tell you, he's on IR right now. You know, which you know, not
I
many
would love
people
him
from the
Treylon
Titans
Burks
think.
Fans Football Expo too, man. Anybody will listen. Treylon, this year, I swear.
No, Biggs almost speaks about him highlier than you do. Then like he's all about Treylon.
I thought it was a
Burks.
bit.
No,
I thought it was a bit with Biggs.
no, it seriously, it's not.
No, but like, okay, so we're not even gonna go there. All I'll say is, look at D Hop in the Titans offense, and look at D Hop now. Okay, you put Burks, you put whoever in the Titans offense, unless you're a running back.
Yeah,
right?
sure. Let's send Burks to the Chiefs. Yes, he would be better than if that's really the argument that we're about to have right now.
I'm just saying it would be
Juju's got a 100-yard game now with the Chiefs. You know, like
freaking A. Exactly my point. If Juju can do, if Mecole is all of a sudden now fantasy relevant, you know.
wait, when did he get relevant?
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Since he
Yeah.
caught, the Super Bowl. Since he got the Super Bowl.
DFS Super Bowl, yeah.
That's all he had to do. All right. Keep rolling. Bronson coming in. Giants defense versus Panthers or Lions versus the Texans.
Giants.
Giants.
Anytime you play against Bryce Young, you take it.
Yeah. Panthers are in rough shape.
Look, Matthias says he likes
I know. I saw that shit.
unlike bums like DJ Moore. But speaking of bums like DJ Moore, we are starting to see the emergence of you know the Bears' new young receiver. Do we have? I mean, obviously everybody was hype on Keenan Allen, but last week we saw Odunze against Arizona, 5 catches on 7 targets for over 100 yards. And I saw people saying like, oh, you know, maybe Caleb Williams will realize that he can catch the football and start targeting them more. And, you know, DJ Moore has been essentially a bum of recent. But, you know, that whole offense, like we saw, you know, Cole Kmet was at one point tight end 4 on the season with those like back-to-back big games, which tight ends were really rough at the beginning of the season, period. But you start to get like hope for a pass catcher, and then like Caleb Williams comes down to earth, or the Bears do Bear things. Who are we done on DJ Moore? Are we rolling with the Dunze? Who are you trying to highlight out of the Bears offense?
We talking this year or dynasty?
This year.
We're talking this year. I don't want anything to do with any of the Bears wide receivers, period. Just
I like Odunze.
Especially when it gets cold. I mean, if the Bears are starting to play some games outside, Caleb Williams, that offensive line, I'm worried about it. Long term, I think I love Odunze as the guy there. I mean, they're going to have that relationship for many, many years. They need to improve their O-line first, get some protection for Caleb, and that's not happening yet. And when they're going to be running the ball a lot in the cold weather because they can't pass them a whole lot in Chicago. So, I'm worried about for the rest of the season, but dynasty long term, Odunze is going to creep into the top 10 dynasty wide receivers by the end of next year, I'd say.
I like Odunze rest of the season. Like, he's cheap to. I bought him. I picked up Calvin Ridley off of waivers last week, and then bought Odunze with Calvin Ridley, and like cost me nothing, and he's a decent stash. Like, you don't want to stash a whole lot of wide receivers at this point of the season, but we talked about how bad Swift's schedule is coming forward. Well, those really bad run defenses are really good pass defenses for those teams. So you're telling me he gets to play Minnesota twice, Detroit twice, Seattle you can toss the rock on, San Francisco you can too. So a guy that's evolving, we usually see rookies come out of the bye and do a lot better. If I'm going to take a piece or I'm going to roll the dice, it's going to be on a rookie. It's going to be on a top 10 pick. It's going to be on a guy like Odunze with a talented and I think if we can get if the Patriots can win this week, we might be able to get that OC fired this week. We might be able to get him fired, and then this offense could actually produce. That's all we're needing at this point. We need like 2 more losses, and they're out of there.
Brian, you need Eberflus to get fired if you're going to have any.
Well, I don't know if they'll do him until Black Monday. They're going to wait till the end of the season to do him, but to like change the vibes because Caleb's getting pissed. You can tell, and the rest of the offenses too. So I could see them.
DJ Moore is the one who's getting really pissed off because he's misutilized. Look, I look at Rome Odunze, and here's just my one caveat to your thing. And Rome Odunze, I think, is a top 10 talent. I think will be a top 10 wide receiver in years to come. No doubt about it. The problem right now is that he's Christian Watson. I don't know when he's going to actually get his routes and get his target from week to week. That's the problem.
Hello, Christian Watson.
Yeah. And it's brutal this year, hasn't it?
Yes.
I agree with you 100% down on that. You don't know where the targets are going to get spread out still until one of those guys is gone. So I'm looking at maybe Keenan Allen next year being away, and that's when they're going to condense those targets, and he'll start to get there. He's going to have some spike games, and he could definitely catch on, but it's not an offense I'm buying into their wide receivers at this stage.
Yeah, it's tough for the Bears. I saw somebody wearing a shirt that was like Bears, but the B was replaced with a T, but it was in the same logo font. It said Tears, which is probably how the Bears fans are feeling right now. So we're gonna hop back over to Fantasy Sports Advice Network. The fluff came in 12-team PP, and this trade came across there, and I was like, man, that's interesting. Like, that feels like so much to give or receive in this trade. So he said this is a pure value move. The picks are playoff teams, so they're late round first. I still have my own, so probably top half. So he goes into the draft with 3 first-round picks, but needs to get 2 running backs in the draft. So the trade is Olave and 2 2025 late first-round picks for Amon-Ra. How do you feel about that trade?
I mean, Olave right now is a huge question mark with his concussion. You don't even know what his career trajectory is going to be. So that's a tough situation there. The first are very good. I mean, I'm on the first and Olave side, but it's slim. I'm really worried about Olave's future.
Well, I mean, if he gets a quarterback that won't hang him out to dry, maybe he'll live to see another day. But in the meantime, while he's getting decked from Derek Carr,
that's the issue too. even if they move on from Derek Carr this year, he'll probably have a rookie next year. So it might be another year until Olave can really break into what we've been waiting for him to do since, you drafted him as a rookie. So that's just kind of my biggest fear with him. Same thing with Garrett Wilson. I mean, it seems like Aaron Rodgers is going to come back, but Garrett Wilson's kind of in that same limbo. If Rodgers retires, Garrett Wilson's back down to oh shit, what kind of quarterback does he have?
I'll throw this out there for St. Brown, though. I think Ben Johnson's going to be a head coach somewhere else next year, and they're going to be dealing with an offensive change. So I'm with the Chris Olave and the 2 firsts on that one. I don't disagree that it's definitely slim. It's definitely a fair deal, if nothing else. But I'm with the Olave and the 2 firsts.
If this was Amar Rob, producing at the level he was producing last year, that'd be a harder situation. But we're seeing the Lions not need to use their offense the way they have in the past because their defense is playing lights out. Their special teams is on another level, and they're not needing to have to throw the ball a whole lot. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs are, both top 10 running backs, any given week, and they don't need to throw the ball as much. So at this stage, and I don't see that game plan changing too much in the future. Even if Johnson does leave, they have weapons that are going to be able to make him spread the ball around, and that team is built for long term here. So I like the Olave in the first.
Well, look, we're going to hit this next question. If as you guys see, you just go to fantasysportsadvice.network, sign up. It's free to sign up. Any questions that we don't get to in the chat, or just as you get questions throughout your week, start sits, go post them there. These guys are there. Other creators are there to offer us some insights on those things. So we got Arturo Flores coming in saying trade CD for Garrett Wilson. This is, Garrett Wilson is sitting at wide receiver 3 right now, coming off of a 30-point game. Are you pulling the trigger on this?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. He was out producing CeeDee Lamb before Dak left. So, I mean, now that's even clouded. I mean, you know how I feel about the CD situation. So, I'm willing to give up CD for, less than that even.
Yeah, look, Jets have the 7th best schedule for wide receivers the rest of the way. To Mike's point, Garrett Wilson has been actually fantastic, and they've consolidated this offense. Now they've gotten Devontae Adams around Adams and Garrett Wilson as far as the passing game is concerned. So I'm 100% with you.
I love Garrett Wilson rest of the season.
For Brian, I'm going to flip it over. Let's go Dynasty. Are you flipping CD for Garrett Wilson?
No.
If I'm contending, I think I would. If I'm not if I'm a neutral party right now, I'm not moving off that. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's value right now, you're losing value based off that. You would need to add something to that because in Dynasty, you're going off value and assets, and that right there is not a trade I'd be making based off I lose value right now.
Brian, I'm gonna add to Tyler's little hypothesis there. What if it's Bill Belichick as the head coach replacing Mike McCarthy next year? Because that's a possibility.
Look, Brady and Bill have left. Can we not just be done with it?
No.
Bill's on Instagram. He doesn't want to come back. No, he's on Instagram. He's cool. He's chilling.
So this is a trade. Girlfriend. This is a trade that's actually in his inbox waiting for him. And I think what we're at right here is what we see in fantasy. It's the name, right? Like it's CeeDee Lamb. Like it's the name versus Garrett Wilson. So it often we can't get ourselves to let go, right? Or people will attach to players with names, right? And we're able to get value. And I think what we've seen, and both, Mike and Dan, you guys right off the cuff were like, yes, I would do this trade because you're looking at it from a points analytics, value point versus a name. Like when you say out loud, I'm going to trade CeeDee Lamb for Garrett Wilson, somebody goes, well, you're going to do what? But then when you actually look at the efficiency, when you actually look at the points, when you look at the usage, when you look at their situations, especially in redraft this year, you can't go, but like, actually, I need to consider this. Actually, this is the greater value. Actually, if I make this change, I probably put more points in my lineup from a week-to-week basis. and you can't be afraid to make moves like that. So, if they're garnering the name and you get the efficiency, trade for the efficiency.
It's like the stock market. You're not playing names, you're playing value, and you're seeing a stock move up or down, and you're hitting on it. So that's what you're playing on. And name value aside, if the price is right for me, I don't care who it is. I'm going to trade the number one asset in fantasy if I'm going to make a killing off of it, no matter what. It's just the way it goes. So a name to me, I'm not in bed with anybody in fantasy football whatsoever.
All right, we're gonna shut it down on that one.
There you go.
See my buddy Matthiason's comment over there. I'm holding the league winner Odunze.
Ignore the last message.
No, not that one. The other one. His Odunze comment. Yeah. I'll see you on Tuesday, buddy. I mean, Mom.
Look, thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Come over and check out fantasysportsadvice.network. And, we're here every Friday, 9 o'clock. The Friday night hangs. If you don't got a date, come chill with the boys. Or we may have girls on too, and we're going to talk football. We're going to talk fantasy ball. But, yeah, appreciate you guys. We will see you next time on From the Forum. Later.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com.